I have tried to film this video so often, and I really want to do it, but I want to be able to do it justice, and I think I found where I should start. There's just so much that I feel like I want to say, and there's so many moving parts, at least it feels like to me. I'm sure once I say it, people would like watch it and be like, what the fuck? But I already posted a video about this. Thankfully only like 3 or 4 people saw it. So if you're back, hi. Thanks for coming back. Ooh. But I have been working through trying to get myself out of creative rut, because it's been feeling frustrating to the point, you know, sometimes you don't know that you're in a creative rut until you have that push where you want to start creating again, and then you're like in your head you're kind of like, oh, I should draw again, and then you're like, oh, that would be so fun, and like it might just like muse around your head as something that you'd want to do, and it seems like the easiest thing in your world because you always draw. Or you want to sing a song and you want to start singing and playing along to a song, and you're like, oh, that always feels so good, but then you're like in your brain it's always like just this thing that you do all the time, so when you get around to it you'll do it and it'll feel great. And then you go to do it and it doesn't feel great, and you go to do it and everything feels frustrating. And I started doing that, and it started with like singing, and singing didn't feel good. And I've been going to dance class, and I think it was confusing because in dance class, it's like the container is held for me by my really beautiful dance teacher, and I'm so grateful. Ooh. The container's held for me, like I have my things of expectation, and it's really comfortable for me to do that. And so I thought that I could come home and like dance, and then that didn't feel right, and I was getting frustrated with myself. And then I started to recognize that like I hadn't really been putting a lot of thought into my outfits lately, and I tried to, and then all of a sudden, it's not that none of my clothes looked nice, like I love all my clothes, but I didn't have any inspiration anymore. Like there was a huge lack of inspiration, and I mean, if you're a creative person, the only way that it can feel like is that you're like disconnected from yourself. And when I noticed that, I understood how I got here, because I think it's just a part of like a cycle. If you go through, or at least for me, if I go through any kind of like tower moment, you know, when you just like go through life, and if it's because of something happening to you, or if it's because of something that you've done yourself, like whatever it is, and this happens it's life. You know, you get to a point where you just need to shed either relationships or parts of yourself, or things you own, or whatever. You go through a cycle where you need to shed, like a death cycle, and you go from being this thing to completely falling apart. And when you fall apart, you're gonskis. You know, you need to lose like whatever you need to lose, whether that's like 100% of yourself, 90% of yourself, only certain things, whatever it is. I tend to just kind of nosedive into every single one of them because sometimes, or at least there's always at least one of them a year. There's always at least one, and you do what you need to do. And then you go into the part where you're trying to like reconstitute what's left, and maybe heal yourself a little bit, and like reconcile yourself back a little bit. You're just building yourself back up. So you go from like do, and you're trying to like build yourself back up and like integrate again. And I think for me, I take the integration process sometimes a little bit for granted? No, that's not the right word. I'm very familiar with like the completely falling apart. I'm very familiar with the reintegration. The place that I usually find myself getting stuck again is like when you need to expand again. And it's been a little bit of a head fuck because it's been a bit of a macrocosm, microcosm mirror thing going on that I think has been, now that I can like reflect and actually like look at it, it's been entirely necessary. But God, it's been frustrating to try and figure out. Sorry, my hair, I brushed my hair this morning, which if you're one of the 3 or 4 people that saw my video in the morning, you would know that. Yeah, anyway, being stuck at this particular phase of the cycle, like the expansion or like the beginning to expand, like you're going kind of back to the, I know that you don't go from the tower to the full, but you know, like I feel like a little baby again. I feel like, even though it's not Pisces season, Aries season again, that's what it kind of feels like. I feel like I'm coming into a new me again. And there is 2 sides of me that I've realized are at war in this part of me, in this like part of the experience, because there's a part of me that understands that this is life and that I've done this before and I can do this again, and this is a process that you have to surrender to, and like it just happens. So there's the part of me that just tries to ground myself and comfort myself with the fact that this is a part of life and you know how to do it. And that's like, it's the part of me that brings me back to like, it brings me back into, it brings me back from chaos. It's the part that can initiate the bringing back together. But then I think, I get a bit too stuck in that part again, because recently I've felt myself wanting to expand again. Like I've come back online and I've tried to test my creative channels because I've been like, okay, I feel good again. I feel like I've gotten through this thing. I found my routines again. I'm eating, I'm doing things, I'm seeing people again. And I'm thinking about singing, I'm thinking about dancing, I'm thinking about painting, I'm thinking about clothes, and I'm wanting to start to externalize again. I'm wanting to expand, I'm wanting to reach out. And it's as if I have the bridge to be able to drop down into the darkness. I have the bridge to be able to come up out of the darkness. But I get to this point where I need the bridge to start expanding again. And I don't have that yet. Even though I know I've had it in the past, I don't have it right now. And I've started to realize that that's the point where I become my own problem. And I think not only am I at that stage of my cycle with my creativity, but I'm also at that stage of the cycle with my life where, and just in like my timeline, which is like beginning of my life up until I think the age of 19, I was in chaos mode. And I think 19, 20, 21, 22, I was in that rebuilding mode. And like 23 and 24 have been where I've been trying to expand, but I've felt this push-pull. I've been getting it and I've been not. I've been getting it, I've been not. And it's this same thing of frustration where in both circumstances, this mirror is telling me that I just haven't quite understood what this bridge is yet. Like, I haven't quite understood what I need to be able to transmute myself from this integrated, reformed being thing into like successfully being able to express or expand again into a new stage of life. And I saw this emulated in the only thing that I could really turn to that seemed to be working, which was doodling in my journal. Like I bought a new art diary a couple weeks ago, and I started to doodle because I tried to do everything else, and everything else I just got frustrated with. And in my head I was like, doodling really doesn't need to be fucking anything. Like, you're not trying to do anything. Your voice isn't trying to sound nice. You're not trying to do painting, which feels like a really scarily permanent thing. I don't want to get into it. Like, you're not trying to do that. Like, it's just doodling on a page. It doesn't even need to be like meaningful in any way. So I tried to start it, and I think because I had gone in with all of these like reassuring ideas of like how easy this was going to be, and like all the practical reasons of like why this shouldn't be a problem, I was faced with like a really cold mirror of what my psyche was actually doing to me, and how the practical earth sign part of me that is responsible for being able to create an environment where I feel so stable and so secure and so taken care of kind of starts to be this dominating, or right, what's the word? Domineering? As like, it's this part of me that can create a really strong fortress, like a mountain, that I'm able to sit inside of and be really safe within. But it's also this really strong force that like doesn't let anything escape from the mountain. And like, I was going to draw on a piece of paper, like anything. And I was confronted with how afraid I was to follow inspiration, and how afraid I was to follow like the desire that I had to draw a line on a piece of paper and to just trust that whatever was going to come out was creativity and was expression. Because all I could think about was how this little line could disappoint me, and how whatever stroke that I might make with my hands might not be something I'm proud of, and whatever decision I make might be something that's ugly. And what if this line like is not purposeful, and what if it actually doesn't contribute to the greater picture, even though I don't have a greater picture in my head. Like, I just started seeing how much fear was coming up at the mere suggestion and challenge for myself to put a pen to paper and draw some lines, having no plan and having no direction, and just wanting to trust and wanting to see where my inspiration led me, and how terrifying that was for me to do. And it's really sad, because if you're a creative person, you get it, in the sense that to be so afraid of my own creativity and my own inspiration, and to see that fear and to be confronted with the reality that that's like a part of me now again, is so sad. Like, it's so sad, because I don't know, I think especially coming out of like a time of just like blah, 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 I think I just expected like maybe my emotional and my mental state to be affected, and I didn't really think about my creativity taking such a hit. I just didn't expect it, because I mean, it's happened sometimes. It's happened as a result of different things, but like sometimes after an emotional turmoil, I'll have like a creative explosion. But this time was just like, it was so disheartening and so disappointing to see so much fear that was still inside of me, and to like, I don't know. I think if you know the feeling that I'm feeling, like, you know, when you just recognize how broken you are in some aspect of your life, and you're like, fuck, I didn't see that. Like, I almost want to cry right now just seeing that. And it's, again, kind of like I was saying, like, I was feeling all these apprehension and fear and just within my creative process. And then I realized like how much of a mirror that is for where I'm at in my life right now as well. It's just, there's so much, I feel like I'm this brand new person that's just had like for the first time, I'm like stepping into like who I am. And I know you feel like that when you're 24 because you're in your first house year. And like I feel like I'm figuring everything out for like the first time as like who I am now. That's just what it's gonna happen continuously. But I don't think as much as I feel so much relief and so much celebration for this new person and all the new experiences that I'm having in my life and like discovering all these new things, it's also really overwhelming to understand that I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this person. I don't know what my limitations are. I don't know what my direction is. I don't know what, and this is really existential, and like it is. But I got really shocked by how much was really inside of me and how much had really gone unchecked in the realm of like, I don't know, I think I got really comfortable with internal exploration and like reconfiguration that I hadn't even begun to think about what a challenge it would be to start to externalize all of this and live. Yeah, anyway, me just being like, yeah, anyway, no, it's not anyway, it's big. And then I started to see that, like, again, I am not helping myself by holding on to this idea that like this high horse kind of thing of like, this is just a part of life and you know that it happens and you're aware of it. And it's what I always mean about like, it's what I reference when I've made videos before when like I say that I've figured something out or I've finally understood something. And it can be things that people tell you, like everyone tells you about, you know, that you're going to go through cycles of death and you're going to lose yourself and then find yourself again and do it and like blah blah blah. And it's like all well and good to know things, but it's insanely different when you're actually in these situations and they're going to be thrown at you in life in all different perspectives. And just because you know like the structure of something and that think something is supposed to happen, it doesn't necessarily always give you like the nuanced path to be able to navigate it and like the meaning and the value of what the lesson is to actually know it. Like you have to actually have, you can't just know things, you actually have to go through things to develop the wisdom to be able to understand it truly. And I'm at the point where right now, the wisdom that I've had up until this point feels fucking lost on me because for some reason I can't see it. And it started to like pour into trickles and like it started to be a little bit in my head, a bit more conscious when I started to see the doodling. And I started to see the block being me and my internal dialogue being so critical and so afraid and so questioning and untrusting, and all of those things that I was projecting onto a piece of paper and a pen is just how I feel about myself right now. And I didn't know how to bridge that. And then when I was filming my video this morning, I figured it out because I just started getting frustrated with myself. And I kind of wish I could clip the bit in, but I really don't like editing. But there's just a bit in the last like 10 minutes of the video where I was talking through everything and then I was like, I just want to know. I want to know the bit that I'm missing because I'm just at this place now where I'm just realizing that I'm just frustrated with myself and I don't know how to like get through it. And it's what I said before, that like the bridge of trust can't be built if I'm just like talking at myself to build it. If I'm just telling myself to be like, no, you know how to do it, just do it. I realized I needed to start to actually have compassion for my situation and empathy for my situation and not just tell myself that this is where you're at, you know, like not just speaking at myself and demanding myself to do something. I need a little bit of water. I'm like doing the earth sign thing, but I need a bit of water. I need some empathy. I need some love from myself and some life, like something to just soften me and soothe me and reassure me. And all of those things are missing from my inner dialogue. All of those things are missing from the way that I'm nurturing myself, or not really nurturing myself. I've been protecting myself and keeping myself safe and bringing myself security, but I haven't been nurturing or replenishing anything in me. And so, like, no wonder I'm turning the tap and nothing's coming out because there's no water inside of me, or there hasn't been. And once I realized that, I felt like a huge fucking slap in my face, and I felt really like teenage pissy and petty about it because I feel like that's the lesson that I always come to in these situations, is that, like, as an earth sign at least, I come to this realization of what it feels like every 5 seconds of just like, oh, I'm stuck, I'm blocked, I'm doing something, I don't feel good. And I just get shitty and like pissed at myself, and then I don't realize it, and then it hits me and I'm like, oh, I just need to love myself a little bit in like a very soft and compassionate way. And then I'll be able to trust myself again, and then I'll be able to do everything, and that's fine. And yeah. It's just a little bit annoying. It's a little bit annoying that it's a little bit annoying that this is the same thing that I feel like I've been learning for the past 2 years. And I'm fucking, why don't I know it already? But even then, even that is me not applying the wisdom that I've just learned. Ugh. Anyway, I don't know why I'm sharing this exactly, but no, because if I'm here, so many people are. And maybe you also just need a little bit of a reminder if you're trying to get out of a creative block, or if you're in a bit of a rut in your life, that I know it can be really easy to judge yourself and to like realistically compare yourself to maybe where you were a couple of years ago, or the fact that you might have done something similar and you just got through it that time, so why can't you do it this time? Or compare yourself and set expectations of your present self with your past self, or with like some kind of elusive future self that you want and expect yourself to be at. I feel like, at least for me, all of those projections are just me, and have been me, running away from the present me that feels really incapable and feels really new and feels really overwhelmed by the polarity of understanding so much, or what it feels like. It feels like I have a lot of the answers that feels like, I used this analogy in my first video. It feels like I have like a door in front of me that has like maybe like 7 locks. And maybe I've tried to unlock this door before and I've gotten it, but each time I come to this door, it's got a new lock. And it's as if I can put in like every single key, and then there's just this new lock, and it's like, well, why isn't this door unlocking? I've put in 7 of the 8 keys. Why isn't it unlocking? And it's like, you need a new key, and that's okay. You just need to go find it. And it might be the exact same fucking key that is every single other one, but like, you need to find it. It was really hard to find that first key, and that second key, and that third key, and that 4th key, and the 5th key, and 6th, and 7th key. And just because you found 7 other keys doesn't mean that finding the 8th key will be any easier. It might be in a completely new hiding spot, and it might take you infinitely longer. And that's okay. Because then you get to open this door, and you get to have your fun little time. And it'll be okay, but like, finding things inside of yourself is never going to be easy. And I think I get way too hard on myself for not being an expert at living and developing my sense of self and like knowing myself. because that feels like it feels like the easiest thing that you can do. Like, you're yourself. Like, how much could change? You know, how much could change in a month? Apparently a lot. Apparently a lot. Apparently a lot can change in 6 weeks. And I underestimated that. I underestimated that, and then I really judged myself and essentially just set myself up for failure by not having compassion. Anyway, so yeah, this is just me wanting to say that, like, yeah, if you're in a similar spot, yeah, just remember that, like, if you feel confused, you're confused, and it's okay. And confusion is not settled by demands or expectation. Confusion is settled by compassion and empathy and understanding. So if you can feel yourself being frustrated or confused, or like you don't know, or that you feel blocked, like, just remember that that's a real feeling, and that's where you are presently. And as much as you might not want to be there, and as much as you might know that you have the potential to be unblocked and to be a creative person and to be expressive, and that you know that's where you feel comfortable at, if you know that's the kind of person that you are, right now that might not be the person that you are. Right now you might just be someone that's blocked and confused, and that's okay. So just confront confront who you are right now, and do it with love and softness and like compassion and care, and then it'll be okay. And don't give yourself a timeline. I used to do that all the fucking time, and it's stupid. Sorry, you're not stupid if you do, but it just makes no sense. Because time isn't real. But apparently we like to tell ourselves that it is, but it's not. I don't believe in it. But I have to, because apparently I have appointments and a job. So anyway, I think I got it out. I think I got what I meant to get out, and I hope that it helps. Have a good day.